What is your opinion on the current sport of boxing in 2021?
The current sport of boxing,
Yeah.
in reference to
Just
collectively,
yeah, generally speaking, the sport of boxing in 2021.
I don't know. I'm not really. I'm anticipating the Tyson Fury and Wilder 3. I want to see that. I think it was an eye opener to watch Manny Pacquiao lose last week after him supposed to fight Earl Spence. I want to see his comeback and see how he's going to be. There's a few selected fighters that I have my eye on. I think one of the hometown kids, Devin Haney. I would love to watch Devin Haney finally get a big fight with one of the top-ranked fighters to be able to exhibit how great of a fighter he is, and I'm rooting for him. I feel like the future of boxing can depend on young guys like him. Young guys like him. My young boy, Tank out of Baltimore, Gervonta Davis, and some of the other fighters, man. I think they can definitely keep boxing interesting. Ever since Mayweather have walked away, I think we haven't really tuned that much in. Mayweather was the excitement of boxing for many boxing fans, myself included, as well as the retired champ, Andre Ward, the hometown hero. But boxing is holding on, especially in the realm of UFC being so encapsulating. There's still a few boxing fans out there that are very interested in where the sport, the trajectory of the sport can travel to.
Now, recently we have seen retired boxers get back into the ring. We've seen UFC fighters get into the ring. We've seen recording artists get into the ring. We've seen former football and basketball athletes, reality TV stars, YouTubers, TikTokers. Is this helping or hurting the sport of boxing?
I think it's just competitiveness. People want to go out and fighting is something that people, all around the world, all walks of life fight. It's very interesting, I think, to watch the Logan and Jake Pauls, those guys go out and troll themselves into $1 million fights. That's magnificent marketing. I actually think those two guys can actually fight. Putting them up against a boxer like a Mayweather, it's unfair. But for a man to troll himself into fighting arguably one of the greatest fighters ever, that was brilliant. And many people tuned in. And I think it was good for the spot of boxing. I think the true diehard boxing fans would see it as a parody or comedy, or feel as if it's exasperating the sport of boxing and draining it. Me, I don't see it as that. I feel like it's continuing to get bigger because it's touching audiences that may not have ever tuned in. Those guys as internet stars, they probably have an audience of people that never even heard of a Mayweather. So, and as funny as that may sound, it's true. And vice versa. So, the sport of boxing and the competitiveness of someone stepping inside of that ring is still on the horizon. So, it's dope, man. I hated to see Nate Robinson go out the way that he went out. That was unfortunate. Nate is a guy from our neighborhood where we grew up at. Good dude. I just think, it was I don't think he was expecting that dude to hit like that. I don't think no one was. But just to have the heart for him to go out there and fight, you have to take your hat off to him.
Would you want to see him get back in the ring?
Redemption is a part of life. And anytime a man has an opportunity to redeem himself, we must understand the difference between vindictiveness and redemption. I think redemption comes with no malice. It just comes with the theory of never giving up on yourself, and if given an opportunity to present yourself to do better, I think you can go out and do better, being properly trained and being ready to execute from a boxer's perspective. Not just someone out there that may be good at street fighting or someone that may be athletic, to actually be training for boxer etiquette. I would love to see him go out and redeem himself in that manner. But for him to just step back in the ring just off pure anger and sheer vindictiveness, no, because I would hate for that to happen to him again, and I would hate for that to happen to anyone. It's tough to digest.
From judging this conversation, it sounds like you're into the sport of boxing.
I like boxing.
Have you ever gotten into it personally yourself? Putting the gloves on yourself? And
yeah.
How far did you get with it?
I can fight. Now, being out of shape and stuff like that, it would, it definitely have to train and things like that, but I got a good set of hands.
Was it just for fun, or was there ever a thought on maybe taking it serious?
Only for fun. Like, when we grew up, man, our family members, like for every year we would, for Christmas, we would get those Sugar Ray Sugar Ray Leonard boxing gloves. And, I come from a big family. My grandmother had 12 kids. She had all girls, but all the girls had all boys. So, Christmas times all the boys would have to put those gloves on, and you had to learn how to fight. And raised by a single mother, I feel like the single mothers are very overprotective of their children, but they have to install a certain pedigree in their child. So my mom was the mom where you couldn't lose a fight and come home and cry, and now you got to go back out there and fight. So that's just the generation that I grew up in. You had to go out and go fight. There wasn't no ducking, no fades. It wasn't no put them on, win, lose, or draw, you gonna fight. So it was never nothing like, oh man, I want to be a boxer. Nah, it was just know how to fight, protect yourself.
You have children now?
Yes.
How many?
2.
I understand how you grew up and how fighting was back then, but how do you look at it now that shoe's on the other foot? You're a parent and you have your own seeds.
We live in different times, very, very much different times. I was talking to the Godfather, a.k.a. Too Short, the other day, and we were talking about how his generation fought so hard for the next generation to not have to fight as hard. And what I took from that was the work that they did and the things that they did so people can learn from their experiences in the blueprint. I grew up in a generation where we had to survive. Seldomly and rare did we get a chance to live. Our children have an opportunity to live, and they don't have to worry about surviving. We grew up in those homes where it may be a time where your mom may leave for 3, 4, 5 days, and you 9 years old by yourself, surviving, or you'll get dropped off at your grandmother's house and never know when you may see your mother again. Some never got a chance to see their mothers again, and others it would be weeks, sometimes it would be months, sometimes it would be years. And these are the survival mechanisms that have been very traumatic for several of us, and I think that the psychological aspect of many children that come from my generation was always survival mode. So their perception towards everything always makes them resort back to survival mode. And psychologically, it definitely it's mind-boggling the way that they look at things. To answer the question, my children won't have to be in survival mode. Their father survived, and I'm going to install and inoculate in them every bit of living life, unadulteratedly, going towards your passions.
And this grandmother that you're referencing here, grandmother on your mother's side, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay. And when it comes to your children, I know you do have a daughter. What's the other child?
My son.
Oh, okay, so you ended up having a boy.
Yes, I have a son.
Okay. All right. And that was the second child you had?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's just say you had a second child and it ended up being a girl. Were you going to keep going till you got a boy? Was there a plan with that at all, or it just so happened?
I always wanted. I mean, God is good, man, and God will give you what you need, not what you want. And the blessing of it was that I wanted a girl first, and I wanted a boy second, and it's the beautiful longitude and latitude lines of life where your needs meet your wants. And I've been blessed with that, man. I'm thankful. At the end of the day, regardless of what order it may have came in and how the children may have came, the blessing that I'm thankful to have is that my children are healthy. It's a blessing. They're here. They were born with all of their limbs. They haven't been born with any deficiencies, any physical abnormalities. And Hey, man, I'm thankful. I'm thankful. There are many people that are stuck in anomalies and stuck in certain defuncts when it comes to their offspring. I'm so thankful for mine.
And curious, why did you want a girl first?
The things that I was involved in at that time when I was younger, I felt like it could slow me down because it could make me appreciate a woman more thoroughly. Demographically, where we're raised in the areas that we come from, we grow up idolizing the pimps and the players. So we are embedded with a certain manipulation that is misogynistic. And as you get older and you reflect back on some of your thoughts and some of your views towards women, it's very immature and it's very distasteful. And I felt that a woman, a girl, a daughter, would allow me to see the necessary sentiments that one should have towards women outside of the respect that you have for your mother. My mother was my best friend, but my mother was in the game. And what I mean by that, my mother understood what it was to be in the game. She was in the streets. So instead of giving me certain aspects of the game, she taught me how to survive. So she gave me the necessary tools of survival. And it would be, certain little jewels that don't go after the girls you like, go after the ones that like you because they're going to do more for you, and certain things like that, portions of poison that she was given, but she had to learn to regurgitate it so her son wouldn't be lost in the race that we were in. But a daughter allowed me to understand some of the poisons that I was passing out. When people take a dose of their own medicine, they complain that they've been poisoned. But it makes them realize that the medicine that they're actually giving out is poison. So it changed my whole trajectory of the way that I was moving and the treatment that I had towards women. Now having a teenage daughter, it's definitely a blessing because of our relationship. I'm able to not just be the parent that's always do, this, my way or the highway. No, it's an open angle of conversation. Now we can listen, and now I can learn from her. And the maturation of my perspective is all due to the birth of my daughter.
When it comes to your children, same mother for both children?
No.
Different. Curious, when you speak on God, do you follow a religion?
No.
Okay. And any reasoning there?
No.
Okay. And for time reference, it's August 2021.